Internet berperan besar dalam kehidupan manusia secara menyeluruh tentu saja. Akses jaringan dan sumber daya berbasis nirkabel terus berkembang, menggantikan penggunaan jaringan kabel saat ini. Internet of Things adalah salah satu penemuan terbaru yang saat ini gencar dikembangkan karena memiliki kelebihan dari segi fungsionalitas dan juga mendukung kinerja berbasis wireless atau tanpa menggunakan bantuan kabel. Tingginya kebutuhan koneksi perangkat dengan internet pun tentu saja semakin mendorong sistem IoT atau Internet of Things diadopsi ke dalam berbagai industri. Apa dan bagaimana IoT ini sebenarnya? Insight akan membahasnya bersama saya, Desi Anwar.
Perkembangan teknologi informasi bergerak begitu cepat. Dunia seakan menyempit lantaran semua yang terjadi di belahan dunia bisa terpantau berkat kecanggihan teknologi informasi, khususnya internet. Peran besar internet di kehidupan manusia pun seolah beralih. Tidak hanya untuk hiburan semata, namun telah menjadi kebutuhan primer yang tidak bisa lepas dari kegiatan sehari-hari. Berkat pemanfaatan internet, segala entitas, mulai dari manusia, sistem, hingga perangkat atau mesin dapat terhubung secara real-time. Indonesia termasuk yang tidak bisa dilepas dari kemajuan teknologi informasi ini. Terlebih dengan digadangnya era revolusi industri 4.0 yang mengintegrasikan dunia online dengan sektor industri. Kemajuan paling dirasakan dalam revolusi industri adalah teknologi Internet of Things atau IoT. Pertumbuhan Internet of Things dengan cepat membentuk dunia yang lebih canggih. Perangkat pintar, koneksi internet, dan analitik data bertanggung jawab atas kemajuan revolusioner dalam bidang perdagangan, pertanian, maupun industri. Banyaknya penerapan teknologi IoT mendorong semakin banyak perusahaan untuk terlibat dalam paradigma baru ini. Semua akan bermuara pada peningkatan produktivitas dan optimalisasi pengeluaran dan keuntungan.
Di Indonesia, pemanfaatan Internet of Things atau IoT mulai meningkat pesat seperti penggunaan yang pada smart building hingga smart home. Selain untuk memudahkan akses, meningkatkan keamanan, monitoring, sehingga menikmati hidup dari sisi entertainment-nya. Banyak sekali yang kita bisa dapatkan dari Internet of Things ini. Tapi sebenarnya masih belum ya banyak orang yang mengenal dengan istilah teknologi ini, walau mungkin sudah menggunakannya di kehidupan sehari-hari. Lalu, sejauh apa masyarakat Indonesia paham akan Internet of Things dan bagaimana peluang bisnisnya? Sudah bersama saya di studio CEO dari PT Miyota International Technology, Moshe Panjaitan. Ini seorang anak muda, usianya masih 29 tahun, tapi kalau kita membahas all things internet, all things digital itu biasanya dengan milenium, dengan anak-anak muda, karena mereka digital natives. Halo Moshe, apa kabar?
Selamat siang Mbak Desi, thank you for having me.
Luar biasa, punya PT sendiri, Miyota International Technology, katanya MIT of Indonesia. This is, I guess this is, where and how we should aspire to be the best when it comes to technology. Nah, Moshe, kita kan sudah terbiasa dengan menggunakan yang namanya gadget, smartphone, iPad, dan yang berkaitan dengan digital. Dan sekarang yang kita sebut Wi-Fi, ini sudah bagian dari basic necessity. Mungkin kalau kita punya uang, mau jajan atau mau beli pulsa, biasanya kita pilih untuk beli pulsa. Karena Wi-Fi itu sudah menjadikan sesuatu yang sangat-sangat kita perlukan. Tapi Internet of Things ini jauh lebih besar, jauh lebih luas dari penggunaan sesuatu gadget yang menggunakan Wi-Fi. Mungkin bisa cerita sedikit kira-kira definisinya dan penggunaannya yang kita bisa nikmati dari Internet of Things.
Iya, tadi persis banget Mbak Desi sampaikan ya, di Internet of Things itu kita sudah terbiasa dengan gadget-gadget, yaitu smartphone gitu. Kalau misalnya cerita sedikit kayak the first wave of internet itu awalnya kan masuk ke personal computers, where everyone are using utilizing the internet as a tool for business, for entertainment, for working.
Studying.
Exactly. And then the second wave was the smartphones, which we're all very
Yep.
dependent on, and we don't. I don't think
Completely.
definitely. And some people get anxieties when they leave their phone in the car or at home, right? And now it's the third wave of the internet is coming along, and it's already here, and we're just trying to implement more and more of it. I think as a society, and that's Internet of Things, which like the simplest one that people might know are like smartwatches,
Yeah.
right? Which
We have one here.
exactly
It tells the time, but it also tells my heartbeat.
your heart
It
rate.
tells how hard I've exercised,
Exactly.
how well I've slept,
Yep,
You know?
definitely. And that's
and it takes messages as well.
right. So you can read your messages on your smartwatch. So that's a great example of an application of Internet of Things. And maybe later on, and actually this is already a thing in the U.S. with Apple Watches,
Yeah.
right? If there's inconsistencies in the heart rate, I think they will notify the closest hospital in case anything happens. So that's like a bigger usage of the Internet of Things. So not just telling you your heart rate and how much
Yeah.
calories you've burned, but actually
But what
helping
does,
you out
yes,
as well. Yep.
absolutely. What does that information tell you, and also
Yes.
what can you do with that information?
Definitely.
Okay, so Internet of Things, it's already here. You mentioned in the US. In Indonesia here too, although we still use it more sort of like in the basic for communication and that sort of thing. Tell us about the development in Indonesia. When say compared to the US, how much are we currently using Internet of Things?
I think there's still a lot of room for improvements in the implementation of IoT itself. I think in terms of how much we're using, it's definitely not as apparent as other countries as well as neighboring countries. But there are a lot of room for improvements, and we have the smart engineers, hardworking engineers who are able to make that happen. So I think if a lot more people are putting more focus and emphasis and efforts into solving problems utilizing Internet of Things as one of the means, I think will greatly improve our advancements, our implementation of these advanced technologies.
Yeah, absolutely, because we have a lot of, in terms of the number of cell phones is actually much higher than the number of the population in Indonesia,
Yeah.
and in terms of usage for social media purposes and for communication, I mean, it's tremendous. But
Definitely.
using it as a platform where it becomes our ecosystem.
Yes.
I mean, can you tell me the platform is basically cable free, right? It's a wireless. I mean, what can you tell us about the platform itself, and how does it work? Is
Right.
it cloud computing, and where does the data go? Who owns it, and so on?
I think there are different types of connectivity for the Internet of Things. The thing with Internet of Things itself, usually the data that you are sending around are smaller bits, smaller sizes. So you're able to utilize a lower cost connectivity to connect all your devices to the internet. So like the ones that we've implemented, we utilized LoRa technology, which is long range frequency, especially the LoRa 1, which is a lot more cost efficient, but it's able to reach further range. And it works for IoT. Like it doesn't work for multimedia purposes. So say like if you want to stream, if you want to watch videos, it doesn't really work because the bandwidth is quite small.
It's quite small.
So, but in remote areas where you don't need that big of a bandwidth, IoT actually benefits a lot from this sort of connectivity. So that's the connectivity side of it. And in terms of data, it all depends on who owns it, yeah.
platform?
Yeah, who owns the platform, or what kind of arrangements or agreements that the, say, platform owners and the service providers, so like companies work together with other companies, so people have different sort of agreements with the ownership of data.
Okay. Well, now tell me about, because we are in Indonesia, and you have a company, Myota, international technology.
Yes.
But then we have, when it comes to the providers of the platforms, we've been using the likes that's owned by Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg and Steve what have you, Apple, Steve Jobs. They're not here.
No.
And we are giving them elsewhere. Now, tell us, how does it affect Internet of Things in Indonesia, this type of data proprietary, ownership?
Yeah, definitely. I think those who owns the data at the end of the day have the most, so to speak,
Leverage,
power,
money,
influence, definitely.
everything.
Because everyone's been saying it now that data is the new form of currency, some might say. But it's not as simple as that. I think you need to know what to do with the data. And like for ourselves, like we keep the customer's data very secure, and it belongs to, we're working together with the BUMD, with the daerah, with the power providers.
So this is purely Indonesian-based platform.
This
like
one is
Myota.
purely Indonesian, yeah. So we make
You don't have like a Mark Zuckerberg somewhere in the background hovering, trying to buy out your company.
I hope not. Maybe he can listen in, with the vast amount of resources that he has. But for us, it's we make our own devices. We make our hardware, firmware, software, our application. We utilize our own connectivity. We design the payment gateways, collaborate with BRI in our area to have the payment gateway. So everything, all the data is secured within our ecosystem. And it's kept confidential, and the only things that we're able to do with it is probably do some business intelligence, data analysis to figure out sort of behavior for segmentations. But all the private data belongs to the customer.
So this is all very interesting, but I think we should know a little bit more about what, Internet of Things. How does it relate to me and my home and also my personal needs, as well as perhaps how it can be used by businesses and companies. We'll take a little break, kita istirahat sebentar ya Moshe. Tetaplah bersama kami, Insight with Desi Anwar akan kembali setelah yang berikut ini. Ya, Anda masih bersama Insight with Desi Anwar. Topik kita kali ini mengenai pengembangan teknologi di Internet of Things dan bagaimana mengimplementasinya di Indonesia. Saya ditemani oleh CEO Myota, Moshe Panjaitan. Masih muda, masih cemerlang, dan kita harapkan bahwa perusahaannya ini bisa menjadi salah satu yang startup yang sukses ya di Indonesia. Is this still a startup? Masih startup atau sudah berjalan dengan lancar dan menghasilkan profit?
It's already profitable.
Really? Padahal kan baru dari tahun 2018 kan?
Yeah, 2018, end of 2018, we built it up, and it's operating profit is profitable. I mean, we still have, we invest in the capital expenses ourselves, so we still need a few years to cover that. But in terms of operating profit, it's already
well
positive.
done. And it's all run by people of your age?
It's a mix, actually.
It's a mix.
And I think we like to avoid the terminology startups because it's commonly associated with high growth, fast growth, software based.
And then you get bought out by big companies.
You get bought out and then
become billionaires.
Yes, you go in early, go out relatively early too. But
that's not your vision.
No, because I think like just food for thought. Like some startups are aiming to hit that unicorn status, but we don't really care much about that, and we're asset heavy. So
what do you care about?
I care about improving the lives of other people. For myself too, it's kind of selfish.
So what are the services that you provide, Myota?
The services we provide. Our main platform is the one that we just finished installing in Musi Banyu Asin, Sumatera Selatan. So the power providers there are not PLN themselves, but it's the BUMD because it's really remote areas and
susah untuk dijangkau ya.
Very hard, especially with the technology that are used now, utilizing PLC. You have to use a lot of cables basically, but what we utilize is the LoRa technology, right? The connectivity for long range radio frequency, and what we provide is we provide a lot of benefits for both the power providers and the consumers. So it's not just smart meters. I think our implementation is a service. We do managed service, which means Yes, we do. We have implemented 50,000 smart meters. We've implemented 200.
This is meters for electricity, so you can check exactly how much electricity you use
Yes,
and how much
definitely.
it's going to cost you. And
Definitely, yeah. So this entire ecosystem, you're able to check your electricity. You can definitely monitor them, and we changed the system from postpaid to prepaid. So before in the area, they had 50% bad debt, meaning that they were unable to collect their money from their customers. So 50%, and I think the highest, like the record was 56 months of unpaid electricity bills. And with our ecosystem, with our platform, that's reduced to zero because it's prepaid.
yeah, prepaid, and also you can
And
monitor it.
transparent.
Right?
And you can monitor it from the operations center back.
Tell me about I know this is all very technical. This is no cable, no cholok or whatever.
No,
Is it all like cloud computing, or
Yeah.
where do you everything's in?
So yeah, so no worries. So everything. So the smart meters themselves, they have
The boxes,
They utilize, they utilize the LoRa protocols, where it sends the data over to the LoRa gateways. So the gateways is where it's connected to the internet. So from the gateway, it's connected to the internet, and it saves in the data center that we use, and it stores all the data there, and a lot of the business intelligence happens over there, and it outputs to the dashboard as well, and for the power providers as well as to the mobile apps for the consumers.
So
Yeah.
well, basically, to simplify things, is you provide a very efficient way of using, monitoring, and also just basically giving power to
Definitely.
a remote area,
Yeah,
yang nggak bisa dijangkau oleh
Yeah.
PLN gitu. Jadi,
To put it simply, like we bring transparency to the transactions of electricity, and people know what they're paying for. No one can steal electricity anymore. And I think the main thing is we give ease of use and peace of mind for both the power providers and consumers.
Okay, and no more bad debt.
No more bad debt, definitely.
Going back to the Internet of Things, because this is the way that we are going to start living.
Yeah.
Misalnya kalau pagi kita bangun ada alarm, kemudian nanti ada yang tersambung dengan kulkas yang mungkin
Yeah.
sudah mendinginkan, atau mesin kopi mulai
Yeah.
memanaskan kopi. Jadi ini semua kan terintegrasi, atau mungkin ada kordennya yang bisa dibuka atau lampu dimatikan dan lain sebagainya. Tell me a little bit about the Internet of Things at home.
At home, yeah.
Smart home. What
Yeah.
can we have?
Yeah, I think that's very applicable. What you just mentioned, itu benar banget. Jadi in the future, the alarm can wake you up. So, and then when you hit the stop button, it starts heating up your shower and heating up your coffee. And then once you're done with the shower, it like provides the food, and then the fridge, like a smart fridge, can also tell you, oh, you're out of beer, and then it'll order the beer itself, say, or it doesn't have to be beer or anything else.
Milk.
Or milk. Beer.
And time to feed your cat, for example.
Time to feed your cat, or like there was one example that Gary Vaynerchuk uses. He's an angel investor in a lot of the different companies in the U.S. He mentioned something to do with like smart pants. Like in the future, you might have smart pants that can tell you how much calories you have or what kind of diet you want, and then it's connected to, say, like your credit card information. So when you try to purchase a burger, it'll decline because it'll say,
your cholesterol level is way too high.
Exactly.
So this
that's
is the
like-
future of Internet of
Definitely.
Things. So you have things like the wearable
Yes.
health monitors,
Yes.
but then we can have things like clothes or T-shirts that can tell you like, oh, you're putting on weight, or you're not
Yeah.
very you're not very fit or something. This is something that
That's very possible in the near future, even like smart shoes, smart pants, smart clothes, whatever is feasible and applicable. So I guess you got to still weigh out the business opportunities, the people who are willing to do it, but the demand has to be there.
are companies looking into this? I mean, I know we have things like
definitely.
Google Play My Music, or Alexa,
Yes.
do my homework. I don't know, or Siri, tell me how to get to
Point A from point B.
yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are looking into the different opportunities and seeing where the demand is at, and trying to integrate that with whatever technology that we do have. So in terms of the smart pants earlier, it's something that a lot of people can benefit from, because I think
But
every
is
other
it a
person I know.
complicated technology, or is the technology is already there? It's just a matter of using it on a bigger scale, or
The technology, I would say, is definitely available, but implementing it on a bigger scale, as you mentioned, and making it feasible, and like, I think that plays a bigger part. So like with smart pans, I mean, ideally we have all these connectivity, but what happens when you wash them, right? And
yes, absolutely.
things like that. So there are things that people have to still pay attention to and improve on to make it feasible for a bigger application. But it's definitely, the technology is definitely there.
But and definitely, if it works, it can make your life a lot easier.
Yes.
And in the long run.
Yes,
right?
especially for people who care about their health, right? Like with the
Yeah,
smart pans.
also if they want to save electricity, for example, you forget to switch off electricity when you
Definitely.
leave the house, or you want to make sure that your house is safe
Yes.
and you can monitor it from a distance. I mean, this is something that what Internet of Things is about. Right?
Yeah, I think a lot of houses now have security cameras, CCTVs, right, for their own homes, and you can look it up on your phone, and you can tell if there's like an unfamiliar face around the area, so you're able to get that sort of information. And but you're exactly right. I think we're focusing mainly in the utility sector right now because it's, as you mentioned, it's a basic fundamental. The internet is a basic needs that the society are dependent on. And
Okay.
electricity and water are the main utilities as well. So we think that these essential industries, such as the utilities, are very
All right,
important.
well, let's pick up on that in the next segment because
Sure.
we're running out of this segment. Jadi kita istirahat sebentar ya, Moshe. Tetaplah bersama kami. Insight with Desi Anwar akan segera kembali. Ya, masih bersama Insight with Desi Anwar. Topik kita kali ini mengenai The Internet of Things. Ada Moshe Panjaitan, CEO dari Miyota International Technology, berbicara mengenai semua yang berkaitan dengan internet, dengan dunia digital, dengan konektivitas, dan bukan hanya menggunakan wifi dan gadget, tapi kehidupan kita. Platformnya, basisnya itu adalah connectivity lewat internet. Apapun yang kita lakukan, dan kita sudah melihat ya masa 2 tahun pandemi ini, ketergantungan kita terhadap internet, terhadap yang namanya wifi dan digital gadget itu luar biasa tingginya. Nanti kelihatannya ini akan sangat-sangat meningkat ya, apalagi di bagian pekerjaan, misalnya pendidikan, kesehatan, ya semua aspek kehidupan kita. Jadi bukan saja not just entertainment, bukan saja hiburan, kita nonton dan streaming dan lain sebagainya, atau mungkin main ini games ya, pakai virtual reality, pakai augmented reality. Tapi lebih ke basic needs. Now, I think you mentioned for Indonesia, it's still a developing country, we still have a lot of basic needs, including actually connectivity itself, right? I mean, where do you see the low-hanging fruit that you can actually fill a gap in when it comes to providing basic needs? You mentioned electricity, listrik salah satu, ada air, kemudian apa-apa lagi dan bagaimana mengembangkannya?
Yeah, so you're exactly right. Jadi yang utama, the main utilities that are necessities for everyone is electricity and water. So we want to make sure that everyone's able to get transparent information and purchases if they ever need water and electricity. But more than that, I think it's the fundamentals to build up the infrastructure for connectivity itself. I think without the infrastructure...
Where can you start, for example? I mean, we mentioned the electricity, and you put in the meters, for example. What about water? Because a lot of water, particularly in Jakarta, is all like you pump water from the well, for example. It's not really from pipes.
Right. We actually have some of the devices that are able to monitor the water and can also turn on or turn off. So if someone hasn't paid, we can shut it close and open it back up. So water is definitely one of the other applications of the utilities, IoT in utilities. And so water, electricity, those are the main ones, definitely. But as you can remember, I was mentioning about the connectivity that a lot of these applications need, right? So once all the basic necessities are connected to the internet using all the different sorts of connectivity, I think we can start implementing the other forms of IoT, so let's say like smart agriculture, smart industry, so smart health or smart education. So we need the infrastructure to be there first before we can start integrating or implementing the other use cases of IoT.
Is this
even
something
smart
that
home.
you see the Indonesian government doing, putting, laying down the infrastructure for Internet of Things? Are they doing it, do you see, or are we still very much, behind compared to our neighboring countries?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, and I can't say for much in the other sectors because we've been focusing on the utilities. But
Is the infrastructure there for Internet of Things for utilities?
in the utilities, I think it's not there yet because all of the neighboring countries. So the power grid or smart power grid, the thing that we're implementing, is part of the advanced metering infrastructure. That's what they call it globally. So the advanced metering infrastructure that we have in Indonesia is not advanced. So it's
So still a lot of it is still analog. Basically.
still analog, and some people still have to go around. Pejabat meter they have to go around and take
Terus
notes,
lihat ini.
and that's expensive, and they don't go to all the houses. Sometimes mereka cuma
And not
pukul
necessarily
rata
accurate,
aja.
yeah.
Exactly.
Belum tentu ini.
Not accurate because
Betul.
because it's not connected to the internet. It's most of them are still uses PLC, which use a lot of cables essentially. Yeah.
Tapi nanti ke depan semuanya mau tidak mau kan harus idealnya di platform yang internet ini ya dengan
Yes.
Digital data. Kita ingin membangun sesuatu yang sekarang kan semua harus environmentally friendly ya, ramah lingkungan, kita harus sustainable, berkesinambungan dan juga harus hemat ya tadi hemat energi, hemat listrik, hemat air. What do we need to do to create a smart building so that the building itself it's sustainable, everything works efficiently, transparently, but also for the people working in that building, they can do their financing, through online and administration online. Everything is online, or they don't even have to go to the office. Actually, you can just stay at
Work from home. Right?
Yeah.
Most people are doing
So
that.
what is needed? What sort of
I think
infrastructure and stuff like that?
yeah, for smart buildings, I think what's necessary would be the different. What are the main points that needs to be tracked, right? So in any implementation of Internet of Things, I think the question is, what do you want? What is important for us to track? Say like the electricity usage, right? And then anything else that the office needs, depending on what kind of work you're doing. But for as simple as electricity in smart buildings, if you don't know how to track them, if you don't know how much electricity you're using, you're actually wasting.
Yeah, I mean, energy is very important.
Definitely, energy is very important. And if we want to go towards a sustainable energy, like the future of sustainable energy,
Or
we
your
need to be able
carbon
to track.
footprint. Now we talk about how, what's the amount of carbon
Definitely.
footprint that the building.
Yeah, and a
emits.
lot of different manufacturing sites are now trying to implement the green building certification, so they can track their power consumption, their water consumption, and eventually they'll know how much carbon footprint they're putting out into the world, right? And if we want to go towards that renewable energy future, you need to know how much you're actually using up, and if you can save up more, or maybe in the future you can have like you can share your usage of electricity and water with your neighboring.
But you can also reduce
areas.
waste, like for example, having everything online, having everything sort of connected and integrated into, a non-analog or
Yeah,
paperless or whatever. This is
definitely. Even as simple as that, like when you reduce the papers, you reduce the waste, and of course it'll start to change a few industries. Like the paper industries might be in somewhat of a trouble if everyone's moving towards this less carbon footprint future. But I think that's something that we have to be prepared for and that we have to adapt to.
But is this something that you see that businesses and industries are beginning to adapt to the world of the ecosystem of the Internet of Things?
I think so. And just as simple as the paper thing, right? When you reduce the usage of paper, because everyone can do most of the things online or digitally, you're not just saving you're not helping in saving the world. Not only that, but you also save costs. So it makes a lot of sense to do it because it's a win-win situation. You're saving costs on like unnecessary papers, and you're able to have everything digital.
Yeah.
So I think it's a lot more.
Yeah, and you can monitor how much water, like for example, a company that uses a lot of water, they can monitor
Definitely.
exactly how much water they are using, and you know whether they're actually green or not. You know,
Yeah.
so these are indicators. Well,
Completely agree.
Yeah, is there I mean, the U.S. in some of the cities, do you see them actually implementing this to a high degree? That everything it's all.
Yeah, definitely. So not just in the U.S., in the European countries as
Mm-hmm.
well. I think in some of the places have like 50% or more are already in this advanced metering infrastructure, as I mentioned
Mm-hmm.
before, right? I think it helps a lot out there because it's they have to compete, they have to innovate, and they
Yep.
have to compete with one another, right?
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, they try to make the best services that they can for the people,
Okay.
and most places are supported by the government as well. But it's not just us that are lacking in this. I think a few neighboring countries are still lacking. So I think regulations. It's really hard for regulations to catch up
and
as well.
also not just regulation, but the necessity. I think necessity is the mother invention. If you really need
Definitely.
it, kalau udah kepepet baru akhirnya terpaksa
Exactly.
kita melakukannya. Tapi kalau selama ini misalnya harga BBM atau batu bara masih sangat
Definitely.
terjangkau, jadi insentifnya untuk hal-hal seperti itu kan masih
Way less. Jadi.
masih berkurang. Kita istirahat sebentar. Moshe, kita masih ada beberapa segmen lagi ya dalam diskusi ini. Tetaplah bersama kami, Insight with Desi Anwar akan segera kembali. Ya, kembali bersama Insight with Desi Anwar. Topik kita kali ini, The Internet of Things. Saya ditemani Moshe Panjaitan, CEO dari Myota International Technology. Kalau kita melihat ya kegunaan dari internet itu sebenarnya jauh lebih luas, karena ini kan salah satu masalah yang sekarang kita hadapi itu adalah pemanasan global, perubahan iklim, dan di mana kita harus melakukan sesuatu itu sesuai dengan harus ramah lingkungan, mengurangi emisi, dan semua itu harus tidak ada waste atau sampah dan tidak ada polusi. Dan kalau semuanya itu berbasis digital, berbasis cloud, dan ya ini menurut saya bisa salah satu yang kita harapkan ya untuk mengurangi emisi. Smart city ini sering sekali kalau kita bicara dengan gubernur, ya bukan saja di gubernur Jakarta, tapi gubernur di atau wali kota dari kota-kota yang ingin memiliki smart city. Nah, biasanya mereka fokus ke teknologi, Internet of Things. Bahkan sekarang itu mobil-mobil itu didesain untuk tanpa ada supir ya. Jadi semuanya itu jalan bukan saja lewat listrik, tapi di platform internet. Everything is connected. Tell me, I mean, I know in some countries they're beginning to implement that. You know, transportation is very important because it can reduce the amount of emission, but it can also make streets much safer.
I think unmanned vehicles or autonomous vehicles is going to happen in the future, definitely. And a lot of companies are trying to make that into a reality. Like there's Google with Waymo and Tesla with their visual computing. I think it's quite necessary in the future that for safety reasons as well as ease of use. I think I think autonomous vehicles is on the horizon for a lot of people.
What is needed for a whole city to be our transportation to be completely attached to the grid? So
Right.
which means that the whole thing has to be connected to the internet, right?
Definitely.
The traffic lights,
Yeah.
the crossings, even the road itself.
Yes, I think ideally it's everything has to be connected. I think there are areas in China where it's where they're attempting to have a place where everything's connected, because the transition between manned vehicles and unmanned vehicles is harder when when there are two different variables,
Yes,
right?
of course.
But when everything is unmanned, they can talk to each other. So the vehicles can talk to each other. And again, like what we need for that to happen is we need the infrastructure. We need everything to be connected, and we need everything to talk to one another. And it's not just Internet of Things, right? I think we need the artificial intelligence to be able to make the smart decisions, and then we need the data science to back it up, the machine learning to keep improving. So I think it's a combination of all these different things that will enable these sort of future for us.
How long will it take before we have a completely, smart city where, the cars talk to each other, or, even traffic lights know when to go on and off, and then when everything's integrated?
Well, that's a difficult question to answer, but
What was it, more than 5 years?
I think it would be more than 5 years, especially. It all depends, right? If the regulations permits it, if they are willing to say have one city that is fully automated with all these Internet of Things or like smart applications, I think it's more feasible in the near future. But I don't think that's easier said than done.
Yeah,
doing
because
that,
the human
ideally.
factor is still very strong.
Definitely.
I'm sure the knowledge, the science, the technology is already there.
Yeah,
I mean,
starting to.
Yeah, it's starting to be there. Which brings me to a point of the security. I mean, you watch all these films, people get hacked, and an entire city gets hacked, and then the light goes off, and that's it, Or somebody, does cyber attack, and the train suddenly stops, and
It's very
how
real.
secure is, and how are they securing it for this kind of thing?
Yeah, so those sort of things are very real. I think some of the things has happened in some parts of the world, right?
It's quite scary, actually, thinking about it.
Yeah, I think it's a global problem. It's a global issue, cybersecurity and cyber attacks.
And somebody steals your data, and suddenly you don't exist anymore, and you
Exactly.
can't, suddenly you're no longer there. You can't have access to, I don't know, health or
any personal
Yeah.
information that you might need, right? And people can easily take advantage of that if you're not careful. And I think that's why we need to emphasize the needs for these security systems. Like for the ones that we use, we have.
Is it safe, secure? Yours? How do you
definitely.
secure it?
Yeah, we have 3 different layers. It's connected to the internet using the TCP/IP, the Internet Protocol Suite. And the 3 layers of security is the physical layer, the transport layer, and the data layer. So if you want to imagine the physical layer, we use a VPN, or a virtual private network. So it's essentially, it's kind of having our own private road, right?
Yeah.
So that's the first layer. And then the second layer, we utilize a protocol using SSL, which is secure socket layer. And this SSL, imagine the truck that is on this private road is armored with like heavy steel, so it's secured. So that's the second layer. And the third layer, for the data layer, we encrypt our payload, meaning that this is for the metadata, so this is for the electricity consumption, the voltage, the currents, turning it on and off for our ecosystem. It's encrypted, so imagine inside the truck itself, the data are locked inside, locked in a safe lock. So
all
those are
these
the
layers.
yeah. These are the 3 main layers that we
until
have.
you find you have somebody else with who has an even better technology to hack through this. There are always ways, obviously.
We need to keep improving, and that's why we also have a dynamic key between the gateways and the servers, which it auto-generates every time. So even if, say, like hackers are trying to get in, it auto-generates a new key.
So in terms of Internet of Things, the main components of cost, where would it go? The infrastructure itself, or just developing the technology, the software, or the data? I mean,
Yeah, I think a lot of the cost comes with the infrastructure, because what Internet of Things does is it connects the real world to the internet, right? So it needs a lot of sensors to monitor, to control. So a lot of assets. It's quite asset heavy, Internet of Things, which not a lot of, like you mentioned, startups are not willing to deal with nowadays, software based usually. So a lot of the capital expenses would go to these assets and retaining and maintaining these assets. But for anything else, I think it's relatively similar to other industries like the software, like the data center And
But it's the regulation that's important, because then this, this really requires not just the infrastructure, but how to regulate. For example, like you mentioned, data ownership, you know, and who owns it, and what do you do with it, and what happens if you, there's data breach. And so what's your biggest nightmare when it comes to Internet of Things, Moshe?
That's a good question.
I have a lot from watching way too many films on Netflix.
Definitely. I think for usage of Internet of Things and artificial intelligence, I think is a lot of people fear, like the robots taking over.
Well, they're already replacing humans on automatic tasks, right?
Definitely.
Using robots.
And I think that's why it needs to be heavily regulated and starting from now, because I think the advancements in technology far outweighs how much regulations can keep up, right? This is in every country, I feel. So it needs to start being regulated. Same thing with the Internet of Things, like for certification purposes. I think a lot of things need to be certified, like there needs to be associations and institutions who helps with that, but so we can implement these.
But I think easily. Although the problem is the knowledge gap. There are people like Moshe and your friends, who understand technology, who understands how these things work, and there's 99.9% of us who just consume and use it and have absolutely no idea what's going on, and and especially the regulators. I don't think that they know half the time what's going on. Anyway, we take a little break. We have one more segment to go, and it's a very interesting conversation. Tetaplah bersama kami, kita akan kembali setelah yang berikut ini. Masih bersama Insight with Desi Anwar. Kita ditemani oleh seorang CEO muda, Moshe Panjaitan, CEO dari PT Miyota International Technology. Kita banyak sekali berbicara mengenai Internet of Things. Yang jelas ini adalah arah yang kita sedang jalankan, ya. Sooner or later we're gonna get there. Ya, mungkin dalam 1 tahun ke depan, 5 tahun ke depan, 10 tahun ke depan, tapi pada intinya kita akan semakin sangat tergantung kepada semua yang berbasis digital, semua yang berbasis internet, semua yang berbasis konektivitas tanpa kabel. Tentu saja banyak yang hal-hal yang baik yang kita dapatkan, banyak manfaatnya, tapi banyak juga yang harus kita khawatirkan. Kita sudah lihat kehadiran dari media sosial saja bagaimana dampaknya terhadap kita sebagai manusia, kita sebagai komunitas, dan kita sebagai masyarakat, ya. This is a challenge. But let me ask you more about yourself, karena kalau kita sekarang lihat, ya, leaders in this kind of the world of Internet of Things are young, bright, and the digital natives. Tell me a little bit about yourself, Moshe, and your background. And is this something, obviously, that you grew up with? I mean, the internet, digital life is basically your daily cup of tea.
That's definitely part of it. I think fortunate enough to grow up where internet was taking off in the first place, right? So I was able to understand the differences without internet and with internet. But I'm always interested in learning new things and knowing what's the next big thing that's gonna impact a lot of different lives, different societies. So just to take it a little bit to my background, I'm actually spearheading a corporate venture right now, and we were looking for startups, not just startups, but strategic partnerships for the holding company, which is in the transportation and logistics industry. And then one day we met up with the other founders of Miyota and saw that there's so many different applications, and there's such a high, there's no limit, I feel like, to the implementation of it. And here we are now with understanding, after looking through so many different companies, different startups, I think with Miyota and implementing IoT, I think it's something that's very eye-opening for me. And I'm definitely influenced very much by the likes of Elon Musk and Steve Jobs, who are able to turn these technology and make it applicable to everyone's daily
And can
lives.
take you out to space. I mean, who knows?
Definitely.
But the
That's another
Myota itself, is this something that you see, like what's happening in Indonesia with Internet of Things? Is this something that you see that there is a niche there, there's an opportunity, there's room for growth and also to basically jumpstart or leapfrog our way towards the future?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think there's still so many different implementations that we can utilize using Internet of Things. But as you mentioned before, the awareness is not there. So most companies or industries that want to utilize this, they don't have a budget for it, some of them.
And your budget comes from
So we use
initially-
our fundraising money from definitely fundraised.
Now you have investors, right?
Yes, we have investors.
In terms of, valuation,
Yeah.
berapa sekarang ini kalau divaluasi?
It's still, we don't want to
Yeah,
disclose it 'cause it's still-
are you a baby, or are you kind of medium size, or are
think
you
we're still-
on the
we're
way to being a unicorn?
I think we'd like to categorize ourselves as still in the early stage, but growing quite sustainably. Don't like to use the word
A
fast.
healthy growth.
Healthy growth. Healthy,
You mentioned you're already
long-term
making
sustainable.
profit in the last
Yes, exactly.
2 years of
Yeah.
setting it up.
Exactly. We just started having a positive operating profit starting from this year because we finished implementing it after 1 year, right? And so initially we used our shareholders, the initial shareholders' money to fund the projects. But moving on forward to the future, we'd like to collaborate more with, since we do have credibility now, with like banks or lenders or any form of funds that are willing to advance or help us implement these sort of things.
But what's your, other than CEO, do you actually come up with the platform or the proprietary whatever it is that Myota is basically what its basic
Yeah.
business model, so to speak?
Yeah, so the basic business models, we come up with it together, right? The business models, the technology, the ecosystem, the implementation of it. I think all of us in the board of directors and commissioners, we put all our thinking hat on, and we have a lot of
So you're
great
not
engineers.
collaborating with, for example, existing platforms or?
No, so I think that's this doesn't have to be a problem, but I think one of the main problems is because everything are siloed, and someone is doing the hardware, someone's doing the software, someone is selling the smart meter, someone is doing the connectivity. I think it's quite difficult to coordinate all these different things and make it work. And because we do everything in-house, like from the
So
software,
it's easy to
so it's
scale up.
easier to scale up because everything is within our control. Like the only thing that we collaborate with the manufacturing sites in China because they're able to create the designs that we have for the smart meters. But other than that, a lot of the things or most of the things are basically in-house.
That's great. I mean, especially if you have the know-how. I mean,
Definitely. Yeah.
So you mentioned that you work together with BUMD and providing the services and utilities. How do you see where you're growing 5-10 years ahead? What kind of company and who do you see as your main partners that you worked together with, and where you put your best services to good use?
Yeah, definitely. We do believe that there's a high opportunity. Like there's a lot of opportunities in the utility sector, but sometimes regulation does not permit it, right? So sometimes it's difficult for us to penetrate the market. But we see ourselves collaborating with a lot of different industries as well,
Such as
manufacturing plants. So for the utility sector, our main ecosystem is Myota Grid, which is the power grid for electricity, water, and gas. But we also have Myota Energy, which we do smart energy saving and smart energy monitoring. So industries, manufacturing sites, they can monitor their electricity consumption and everything else. And later on, we also have Myoto is for the transportation and logistics, where we do fleet management solutions. And we also...
How does that work? Because the logistics is one of the things that Indonesia is having problems with. Well, what can we do with logistics? Well, the internet of all things logistics.
Yeah, so definitely there's so many components to logistics, right? I think from getting an item from point A to point B and making sure which vehicles are how many vehicles are needed and which vehicles should arrive when and when they should deliver. I think all these information can be processed quite not easily, but it could be made a lot more simple when you're able to implement Internet of Things and the data analytics behind it and make it more efficient. So that's definitely part of our main ecosystems that we do want to build up.
And
Yeah.
your revenue, you generate revenue from what the services that you provide, obviously.
Definitely. So it's different business models for the different services, and depending on the different customers that we do have. But we like to do managed service. So we, since a lot of people, again, like I mentioned before, a lot of industries and companies don't have the budget to implement these things. We utilize our own funds to fund the capital expenses, and then we get returns through margin sharing or profit sharing.
So how many of you are there now in the company?
It's around 50 people now.
50 people, so it's growing, yeah?
It's right now with the whole situation with the COVID. I think we're just more careful with recruitments, but definitely we're growing soon because we're fundraising in the very near future, like towards the end of the year, beginning of next year.
IPO, somewhere.
Oh yeah, definitely, because we want like transparency, because we're all about transparency. So with IPO being one of the goals or on the horizon, definitely we're looking forward to that later on. Yeah.
Okay, just final questions before we wrap up, because the time is running out. Just building and from scratch until now, and actually providing services and generating income. What are the most difficult part of this whole process, Moshe? Because you also have the human side of it, the SDM, and then you have the fundraising, the cost, and then you have the technology infrastructure, and then you have the regulation in the market and partners. Just
yeah, I think the main gripes that we do see need improving are like the certifications, right? Like, so certification for the manpower, they don't have certification for that yet. They have it for any other industries, but for Internet of Things, it's not there yet. So I think that would help legitimize the people who are willing to put their time and effort into studying this field, right? And as well as certification for the systems. So right now, like again, I mentioned regulations are not yet there, so it hasn't caught up yet with the technology. So there are a lot of drawbacks or a lot of different things that certification. So like the system is certified, so you can install it.
Who do you need to work together with? I mean, for education, for example, there's the Minister of Education and
definitely.
Research and Technology, for example.
Yeah.
So who do you need to kind of get on board and have the same kind of vision?
Definitely for like certification for our systems, we would benefit a lot. We could collaborate with the Ministry of Communication and Information, Kominfo, and with like the manpower, for certification buat SDM-nya, ASIOT.
Mereka kelihatannya udah lebih paham ya ada kebutuhan seperti ini kan sekarang.
Pastinya kalau dengan ASIOT mereka kan Asia IoT Indonesia, so they're quite aware of all these things, and I think we can definitely collaborate with them to build up the certification for implementing the IoT.
It's probably just a matter of time as we are going.
And it's not all bad. Like the government finally gave the okay for unlicensed frequency for the connectivity, which means that's how we're able to utilize the LoRa connectivity. And so it's getting there, but I feel like
it's very slow. I mean, even in the TV industry, we still have analog.
Definitely.
We still haven't fully migrated to the digital platform yet. Moshe, thank you so much. Been very menarik sekali, luar biasa. Kagum ini kalau di Indonesia banyak sekali anak-anak muda seperti Moshe punya pengetahuan, punya visi, punya drive, dan punya kreativitas luar biasa. Pasti kita akan bisa memasuki era Internet of Things jauh lebih cepat ya, karena ini akan sangat membantu untuk kita macam-macam membuat lebih transparan, good governance, good corporate governance, lebih cepat, lebih efisien, dan juga lebih ramah lingkungan. Apalagi kalau nanti semua sudah terkoneksi dan berbasis electricity, for example, transportasinya ini akan sangat membantu mengurangi emisi juga. Moshe, thank you so much. Terima
Thank you
kasih
for having me, Mbak Desi.
banyak. Ya, sukses.
Appreciate it.
Kita tunggu nanti kalau sudah IPO. Iya, demikian Insight with Desi Anwar kali ini. Jangan lupa Anda juga dapat menyaksikan tayangan ini di cnnindonesia.com dan di YouTube CNN Indonesia Insight with Desi Anwar. Kita masih ada COVID ya. Jangan lupa jaga jarak, rajin cuci tangan, pakai masker, dan hindari kerumunan. Sampai jumpa, stay safe. Bye-bye.